All right, I believe we're live. Well, guys, welcome to today's show. I'm super excited to talk about the gift that keeps on giving, everyone's favorite gift. The gift that keeps on giving for most people into your 20s, into your 30s, for some people into your 40s, into your 50s, into your 60s. I've even seen people in their 70s. I'm talking about student loans. And we're going to be talking about this today, guys, because I've just been encountering a lot, talking to people that have been doing Parent Plus loans, talking to just people that have been dealing with student loan debt for decades. And I really want to talk about it, guys, because one of the most common refrains I hear from people when they talk about their student loans is, if only I had known, if only I had known. And I know that for my wife, that was one of the things for her. She went to school, private college for a year, came out with $20,000 in debt. That's how we started our marriage. And she's like, if only I had known, if only I had known. And I hear this from borrowers all the time, like, if only I had known how overwhelming it would be just to look at the debt and to have to see it and see how little income I had and how much debt I was going to have to pay and how little I was going to be able to put toward that debt every month and how minuscule it would seem to feel and how overwhelming it would be. If only I had known how depressing it would be. If only I had known how it would leave me feeling so hopeless when it came to being able to pay off the debt. If only I had known how much it would keep me stuck in my career. I know even for my wife and I, when we first started, there were dreams that we had. There were things that we wanted to do, whether it was, I don't even remember, but it might have been one of the things that made us not want to have a family right away. I know for us, it was like there were career things involved, maybe ongoing education things. There were just lots of things that we wanted to be able to do. Homeschooling was something that we eventually want to do. Thankfully, we were able to do that. But I know for a lot of people, they feel stuck. I'm just saying that bottom line, guys, I hear time and time again, if only I had known, if only I had known. And guys, if you haven't experienced it already, so first of all, if you've felt this, in any way, shape, or form, if you're watching the replay, do hashtag replay. Let me know how you're feeling about it. But let me know if you guys are dealing with student loan debt right now. Let me know, because again, this is something that most of the country, on some way, shape, or form, is affected by it. It's like whether you've taken on student loans, you've co-signed for a student loan, things like that. So many people are dealing with student loans. And what's crazy is just even over the last 40, 50 years, I'm trying to remember the statistic, but it's like something like 20 or 25 times more expensive to go to college. And so even just for some basic college education, a lot of people are spending, 10, 15, $20,000 a year. Even just for a lot of stuff, people are looking at 50, $100,000. It's just nuts and it's just crazy. And guys, we want to talk about it because at first, if you're thinking about going back to school, maybe you're going back to, if you're a grad degree or things like that, or your kids are thinking about going to, to college, and you never took on student loans, but they're thinking about it and they're saying, hey, mom, hey, dad, hey, grandma, grandpa, can you co-sign for this? Can you talk about this? At first, it seems like a good idea. It's really innocent. It's kind of like, I think of it like monopoly money. It's one of those things where, and maybe if you can relate to this, if you had student loans, let me know. But it's like, I know with student loans, it almost feels like fake money because you don't really see it, depending upon what type of loan. It's like you're not even going to be looking at the type of bill, until after you even get out. So it's kind of like it's out there somewhere, but you don't even really feel it. Again, it's like monopoly money. It feels kind of like fake, like play money. But then, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll find a fulfilling job. Maybe I'll be able to make a little bit more money. Maybe I'll be able to, just kind of have some fun, do some things like that. It's like, I'm sure it'll be worth it. And then all of a sudden you graduate, you get that piece of paper and it says, congratulations, here's your diploma. And then wham, like right in the mail. It's like it just hits you in between the eyes and you're like, oh my gosh, I owe how much? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll make payments on it. Okay. Yeah, I think I can do, I'll do 300 a month. I'll do 300 a month. Okay. Wait a second. Only $50 is going to go toward the principal. Wait a second. I'm not a mathematician, but I don't think that's going to go away very quick. And if you're anything like me, like when we first started our marriage, it was like that. It was like first year, you're like, okay. The second year, like, didn't really go down that much. The third year, you're like, it's pretty much still the same. And it wasn't until we just got ferocious about getting out of debt and finally doing that and getting some help to do that, that we finally were able to get it out of our lives. But guys, it was crazy. It was barely going down. And it's like, you're looking at it like they expect me to pay me how much principal? Or it's like, how do they expect me to pay all my grown-up bills and things like that? And guys, like, it's really, it reminds me of this experience where we wanted a puppy really bad, and it was an impulsive thing, and we were like, let's just get a puppy, let's go drive. And like literally same day, I did no research. I just was like, oh, it'd be really fun to have a puppy. So we went and got a puppy, and it was like 2 hours away. As somebody on Craigslist, and it was like $400. And we went and drove with the puppy, and we played with the puppy, and the puppy was so cute and sweet, and it was a lot of fun. And we got to learn about puppies and have fun with puppies. And then it had fleas, and it came with fleas, and we were like, okay, well, that's not anything we can't work with. And then we found out it had like an incredibly serious illness, pretty much like it was on the verge of dying, and it actually died a week later. Now, I'm not trying to like talk about sad puppy stories, but the point of that story is that you may have felt the same way. Like maybe you got into your student loans and you were like, it seemed innocent at the time, it seemed fun at the time, like it's not that bad, but then afterward you feel like, oh my gosh, it can just take the breath out of you. It feels like such a weight on your shoulders or a weight on your chest every time you stare at that student loan balance. And if you're there, I've been there, I feel where you're coming from. And I just want to offer you some hope right now, because again, I know that when you're feeling that, guys, like there's so many consequences to it. Like I want to talk about the dark side specifically, because a lot of people do not know getting into this stuff just how sticky it really is. For instance, if you did not know this already, bankruptcy is not really an option for student loans. Like it is like such a small percentage of people that actually find a way out. Even then you have to pass a bunch of tests to be able to, or, basically prove that there's no way. Bottom line, just like pretty much assume there's no way you're gonna be able to bankrupt that sucker. And even if you're doing forbearance, even if you're deferring it, things like that, some of these different things, it's like it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I talk to so many people where I'm asking about the student loan debt. They're like, well, like it's right now it's deferred, things like that, as if it just kind of magically paused. Right. And it's like, no, it didn't pause. It's still accumulating interest. So I've talked to people, you might have $100,000 in student loan debt. Well, if it's a 4% interest rate, that means next year it's going to be 104,000, right? And then the next year it's going to be even more. And then the next year it's going to be even more. So if you're putting it off, like it's just going to keep growing and growing like a cancer. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that just because like you're deferring it or you can't make payments, or a lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing income-based repayment. It's like, well, that's great, but it's still growing. Like, oh, well, I'm able to make the minimum payment. I'm doing income-based, but it's like, but it's, if the student loan is $50,000, you're only putting $100 a month toward it because it says, oh, well, you can only afford that much. It's like, they're not saying like, hey, we're going to give you a reward. It's like, they're just giving it. It's like, they know that they're going to get paid on that sucker for basically the rest of your life at this point. And so that's one of the things that people don't know. And we're talking about the dark side of it. Another thing is when people don't realize is that ultimately, like I said, it's impossible to bankrupt. But another thing, guys, is that if you default on that puppy, like if you stop paying and you default on it, like guys, like there are so many nasty, awful things that can happen to you. And please pay attention, because I'm talking to the parents here as well, and the grandparents and the people that are doing the Parent Plus stuff, that are co-signing. I'm talking about this because ultimately, like even with the Parent Plus, you as the parent are the one who's responsible for that, right? Primarily. So I'm just saying, like, if for some reason your kid cannot pay it, if they get struck by a bus, if they just decide to rebel, or they just decide not to pay it, or something happens like that, or they just, something happens psychologically, they decide not to, you're on the hook for that. And guys, like if you're already feeling tight and feeling pressure as it is, imagine stacking on 25, 50, 75, or $100,000 or more of student loan debt. Yikes. Like you're going to feel that. I know that it might, for some of you guys, it might already feel really tight. Like I don't got any more room to give. I've already got enough that I'm trying to pay off, or trying to, just I don't feel like I have any wiggle room with that. And so guys, there's things like they can garnish your wages. If that's you, they can seize your assets. They can seize your cars. They can even, they can put a lien against your house. They can even force the sale of your house. That's more of an extreme situation, but it honestly can happen. They can, the creditors can legally, ultimately get access to the funds from your bank account, and ultimately they can get money and get paid that way. I'm just saying, guys, like there is a lot that can happen. There is a lot that can happen. And if you can't pay it, it's like, it's not like it's just going to go away. This is not like, some of you guys maybe didn't pay your medical bill and eventually it's sent to collections, and then eventually it's like you never heard from them again. It's like, guys, no, you will, like, sometimes even then there's some of these places they will sue you and things like that. But again, if you are not paying the government back, watch out. If you are not paying back some of these private, student loan companies, it's like, watch out. They are not going to stop. They're going to relentlessly come after you with all vengeance, because they will get paid. They're going to get paid, and they're going to do everything in their power, especially if it's the government. The government's going to do everything in its power to get paid, because especially when the government owns trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt and needs as much money as they can get, they are going to get paid on that sucker. Okay. And then the final thing, guys, is I want to talk too about another thing that people don't realize and consider when it comes to the student loans. If you're stuck in them and you're not getting out, you've probably already felt the overwhelm and you very likely already felt the depression. And one of the biggest things I want you to consider is a lot of parents I talk to, it's like very lighthearted. It's like, well, if they get student loans, I had student loans. It's like I had to deal with it. They'll have to deal with it too, or they'll be fine. I'm sure it's not going to be that bad. Guys, like one of the darkest sides of student loans, and please hang in with me for a little bit. Please do not peace out with this. I know it's uncomfortable, but one of the darkest parts of student loans that people don't talk about is the depression. And when you leave college and again, it's like you're starting your career. Some people don't even find jobs. In fact, like I would venture to guess like a majority of them never find jobs in their field right away. And so you end up starting work, maybe some people making 10 bucks an hour, 12, 14, 15 bucks an hour. And now you're staring at a student loan bill, the size of Texas. And it's like, oh my gosh, it can be overwhelming. And for so many people, it can be crippling and it can be something that really can be very suffocating. And when you look at like statistically, students that are struggling with student loan debt tend to struggle more with thoughts of even suicide and things like that. And I wanted to read you guys this article that I came across because this woman, released an article on her website about it. It was called "Suicide Among Student Debtors," and I wanted to read this to you guys because honestly, and please don't tune out with me, please hear. Because again, if you are dealing with this, you're probably feeling the depression, and so you need to feel this and listen to it because it's going to talk about some of the ways people cope and how it's not working. But again, if you have kids that are in college that are stuck paying this, and you're not at a place yet where you can help contribute to that, and you're having to watch them suffer, or that they're going to suffer because you can't help, please listen. She said, I was stunned by the responses. She said, in comment after comment, people confessed to feeling suicidal. One person wrote, I was actively looking into suicide and I got on antidepressants. Now I have to take happy pills every day to keep the suicidal urges at a minimum level. And guys, like, please, as you're listening to this, I want you to think about, what if this was your kids? What if this was your kids writing this post? And I know you might be thinking, Jeremy, that's a little bit dramatic. Well, it might have been a little bit dramatic to some of these parents, but guys, this is what was happening. This is what happens. Now I have to take happy pills every day to keep the suicidal urges at a minimum level. You are correct to ask the question. Many of the folks who are incredibly deep in law school debt will end up killing themselves. I think in the next 1 to 3 years, we're going to see an absolutely massive number of, so that was specifically for law school graduates. She said another, yes, I thought about suicide a lot over the past few years. I take antidepressants and I've been smoking cigarettes for months, but I ended up quitting. The big issue is that I wanted to be an opera singer, so smoking was my way of giving up. I'm trying to do what I can to get through this and praying for an answer. That was another one, guys. Another person said, I think about jumping from the 27th floor window of my office every single day. And guys, like, that's just a couple of the statements that I was reading and that I was listening to. And it's just insane, guys. And you've got to understand that, again, if you want your kids to go to college, if your kids are going to go to college, and again, there's scholarships, there's plenty of things that they can do. And I would encourage you guys, encourage them to look into scholarships, encourage them to look at ways that they can do that to lighten the load. But if they're about to step into this and you're about to co-sign to this, or they're already into college and they're already starting to rack up some serious debt, guys, like, for the sake of your kids, please, 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 please do what you can to get out of debt and do what you can to save so that you guys can help encourage them and help them along the journey and ease some of that burden for them, or do something to ease that load. Because guys, I'm telling you, it is rough and it gets so hard and it gets so difficult. And again, it's like, if every dollar that you're having to spend toward your debt is money that, or not be able to save, or trying to save and save and save, and then gets depleted because if something else happens and you got to save again, depleted, like every dollar that you're putting toward that, it's taking your money away from something else. It's robbing you. So your own debt and your own expenses that you don't have under control, whether it's saving up for college, whether it's saving up for braces, whether it's saving up for retirement, whether it's saving up for weddings, things that you guys want to do, specifically even this for your kids' college, it is robbing you of the ability to be able to do that. And so, guys, I just want to share this with you. If you have not yet gotten on a serious plan to wipe out your debt, to be able to get financially free and to be able to get money saved up, go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call with us, and let's see if we can help you guys. Because again, we're seeing it too often where so many people are struggling to help their kids out because they are still struggling themselves. And if you are somebody who you're still in student loan debt or any kind of debts, but specifically student loan debt, and you're struggling and you don't see a way out, or it seems like it's going to take 5 years, 10 years. I've even talked to people recently where it's like, in your 40s or 50s, like, yeah, like on my current plan, I'm going to be debt free in 9 years. And it's like, 9 years? 9 years? Like, do you really want to wait 9 years? I'm not judging, but it's just like, I could talk to people. It's like, almost like they just say like, oh, matter of fact, I'm like, do you really want to have to wait 9 years? until you can really start saving, until you can really start feeling free, until you can really start sleeping better at night, until you can really start having money for emergencies, until you can really start having money to pay for college for your kids, until you can really start. It's like, not me. Like, I don't want to wait that long. And sometimes we tell ourselves that just to survive and get through the day. But deep down, guys, like, there's no way in the world that if you are currently in debt and it's going to take you, 5, 10, 15 years based off your current trajectory, that deep down that's okay with you. And if it's not okay with you and you want help to be able to speed up the process, guys, go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call with us. But I just did a recent training on this, and it was like a 2-hour training where I answered lots of questions. And you could probably see the link below in our Facebook group if you want to click and watch that, if it's still up. But guys, one of the things, again, that we talked about is like, how do you really overcome that? Like, how do you actually do that? And guys, again, I'm just breaking it down in simplistic terms, but it really is helpful just to kind of simplify it, because sometimes it can be so mysterious of like, how do I actually get this debt paid off quicker? Okay. And it's really very simple. Like, you really have 2 ways to do this. Okay. And it's really a combination of the 2. You manage what you have better. So in other words, the money that's already coming in, you plug all the holes in the boat. So you stop taking, so that you stop leaking, so you stop taking on water. You have to plug all the holes in the boat. So you have to get full mastery over your current money. You have to get on a solid plan. You have to have it so where like every single dollar has got a mission. You are totally dialed in. You are making the most of it. You've done everything that you can to free up as much money in your own current income to be able to put toward the debt. Okay. That's one way to do it. Okay. The other way, in which we always recommend a combination of the 2, is to make more money and then take the difference and apply it toward the debt. And even with that, there's 2 ways that you can do that. You can make more money working for you, or you can make more money working for somebody else. Right. But guys, really, like, when people ask, like, what's the secret? What's the secret to getting out of debt quicker? What's the secret to paying off my student loans quicker? It's like, really, guys, it's a combination of those 2 things. Now you might be saying, well, duh, Jeremy, like, I know that. But I'm just saying this because I really want to help you guys simplify it, because sometimes it can seem very elusive and mysterious and mystical, like how people are doing it so quick. A lot of people see the results that our clients are getting, and they're like, how are they paying off debt 2 times faster, 3 times faster, 5 times faster, 6 times faster? I don't get it. Well, guys, that's really how it's done. But here's the secret. Okay. What is the secret to really being able to do that faster? Well, again, we talk about those 2 things, but what is it that helps you do those things? Okay. Manage what you have better, right? And really dial it in, and what helps you make more of it and apply that toward the difference so that you can, or toward the debt, so that you can actually be debt free sooner. And again, guys, even with that, I'm going to simplify it. 2 things that we harp on all the time that are the number 2 things that we see our clients are using to crush it. Okay. Number 1, complete mastery over your marriage. The second is complete mastery over your mindset. Okay. Again, I know that I'm like a broken record on this, but guys, this is really what it takes. If you and your spouse are not on the same page with money, then it's basically, again, like you're trying to plow a field, but you're both heading in 2 separate directions. Like, one of you is plowing this way, the other one's plowing this way. And this, and like, ultimately, guys, like, you ain't going to get any corn planted or any corn harvested if that's what you're really trying to do. And so, first of all, you guys have to come together. You have to have a rock solid marriage. You have to feel totally united, excited about your financial dreams. You have to know what the timeline it is that you're going to be debt free. You have to know what steps you're taking together. You have to be clear on why you want it. You have to be clear on what you want. And you have to be taking massive action to be able to do that. Now, it doesn't mean that one of you guys can't start and the other one can't catch up later or get involved. We do have people that we work with where it's just one spouse at first because the other one's kind of cynical or skeptical or closed off, whatever. And that's fine. But really, guys, ideally at some point, like if you guys, assuming you're going to stay married, it's like having a rock solid marriage is going to be the first most important foundation that you have to have. If you're still arguing about money or bickering about money or avoiding the topic of money, guys, just think of it like a business. Again, simplify it. If you did that in a business relationship, if you had a partner, a 50-50 partner, and you could not talk about your marketing budget without getting all your panties up in a wad and screaming or freaking out or huffing and puffing, walking out of the room, or if you just chose to never talk about the marketing budget, what's going to happen? It's either you're not going to spend any money on marketing, or someone's going to go off crazy and spend a bunch of money that you don't really have, or you're going to get upset because you're like, wait a second, I didn't tell you we could spend money on this, or you didn't know we didn't get the sale last month. Well, I thought we were fine, or all these things are going to happen. Miscommunication. This is why, guys, I think it's like 50% of all small businesses end up going out of business in the first 5 years or something like that. This is why most businesses fail: poor communication. So guys, if the number one reason why small businesses fail is really poor communication and poor planning together, I guess, especially if you have a team, or the individual planning, like personally planning, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's our marketing strategy? Basically, what's the strategy and implementing it? Guys, like, why would it be any different from your personal finances, right? So you've got to get your marriage dialed in. Like, if there's any part of your marriage that is not rock solid, like if you can't talk about money, and money is sexy, it is fun, it is exciting, it's riveting, it's like, oh man, I just can't wait to talk about some money together. If it is not like that, guys, you have room to improve. And that in and of itself is going to make a drastic difference on you being able to get your money under control and make more money. Because again, guys, like, just for instance, like when you're like, for men, if your wife respects you and she's proud of you and she's excited and she knows why you're working, because she knows what she wants and she knows why she wants it in terms of your income goals and why you're working the way that you're working, all these sorts of things, and she's right there alongside of you and she's doing her part and you're both at this together, it's like, man, you come home feeling like a champion, you leave home feeling like a champion. It's like, man, she's like slapping your butt out the door, she's like, go get him, Tiger. She's like, you're just so connected, you're so passionate, you're so united around your finances and around your goals. Guys, I'm telling you, like, you become unstoppable as a man. Same thing as a woman. It's like when you know that your husband trusts in you, like the heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain, that he trusts her and he admires her, and where he trusts her to make those wise decisions. It's like ultimately what's happening, because he sees what her goals are, or they know what their goals are together, and they're both plowing in the same direction. It's like, he's not going to be bitter. He's going to entrust her. She's going to feel more powerful. She's going to feel more decisive as a businesswoman, or just as a, someone who's contributing to the finances or helping manage the finances or whatever it would be. And guys, even the women feel more empowered. Bottom line, you both become super empowered. You become just a rock solid fireball, spitfire of a team. Okay. And a powerhouse team. And guys, when you have your marriage under control, I'm telling you guys, that is one of the two things that we say are time and time again the biggest game changers for helping you guys being able to transform your finances. Okay. So that's the first thing. Okay. The second thing, again, when we talk about mindset, guys, I talk about this time and 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 time again, because it's the number one thing that if you get behind closed doors and you're in masterminds and you're around people that are millionaires and things like that, guys, this is what they're talking about. And it's like the broke people and the poor people and everyone like that. Like when it comes to personal development and transforming your mindset and who you are and how you show up in life and being able to overcome fear and self-doubt and limiting beliefs and all these sorts of things, that's the stuff that most broke people, poor people, they're not talking about. They're not being educated on. And it's like, it's only the people that are the elite that are really talking about this stuff. And so if you have not been introduced to this concept, you need to get over this idea, or get clear on this idea that really, guys, the number one thing on top of your marriage that's going to get you there, again, it is what's in between your head, these ears. It's what's in your heart. It's in your mind. It's what's in your emotional state. It's what's in your belief system, right? It's everything about your psychology, your emotions, all, the soul, the gut, whatever you want to call it. But bottom line, guys, even when we talk about emotions, if you're living in constant anxiety or fear or overwhelm or doubt or things like that, guys, what happens is, again, it shuts off the creative parts of your brain. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you unable to succeed in where you want to be financially. Guys, it blocks you on so many different areas in your life. It causes you to try to reach out for things to cope. And ultimately those things put you further and further into debt or further behind. You start just spending money to try to cope and feel better. You start stress shopping. You start doing different things. You start doing things that compromise your health, or stress eating, things like that, or stress drinking, or whatever it would be. There's so many different ways, guys. You end up overworking, end up burning yourself out, and like your health ends up going down the crapper. All of these sorts of things happen when that's happening. Again, it causes anxiety. When you have anxiety, things like that, what does it happen? It's like you're more angry. It hurts your relationship with your spouse. And going back to our previous point, it hurts your marriage. What happens when your marriage starts to get hurt and you're really not showing up in a state of constant positivity, joy, excitement, clarity around your goals, passion, optimism, again, certainty, all of these sorts of things, feeling powerful, feeling unstoppable, things like that. If you don't know how to become that type of person, then again, it's going to leak into your marriage and it's going to sabotage you on that front too. So even again, they go hand in hand. But again, when you're a healthy individual and when you are somebody who knows how to have the types of tools to be able to not suffer with depression or anxiety or overwhelm or all these different things, and you know how to show up as the best version of you every day, it's going to transform your marriage. It's going to transform your financial situation. Okay. So that's just even your emotional state. And again, when it comes down to your beliefs are ultimately what end up affecting your emotions. And there's this little feedback loop, because if you're living in anxiety, that's when all the crazy thoughts come up, the fight or flight response is triggered. And that's when you're going, oh my gosh, maybe it's never going to change. Oh my gosh, maybe we're always going to be in debt. Oh my gosh, maybe he doesn't love me. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could ever do this. Oh my gosh, I'm not smart enough. Or oh my gosh, my sister said I never follow through on things. Or oh my gosh, my husband thinks I suck. Or whatever it would be. Those beliefs, those thoughts come. And guys, if you don't know how to control what's going on in terms inside of your head. And ultimately, like, it's, one of the, somebody called it like the chatterbox, basically like the thing inside of you that's just going off. If you don't know how to control those voices and end up creating a different story inside of your mind, one of you crushing it and winning and succeeding, if you don't know how to become the type of person that follows through, that goes the distance, that is able to overcome challenges and obstacles, that loves to face a problem, that eats it up, that's excited to face a problem and a challenge and things like that. If you don't know how to get control of your beliefs around you, your beliefs around money, your beliefs around what's possible, your beliefs around just anything that could be empowering or disempowering, if you're living in a disempowered state and you're constantly struggling with doubt and fear and cynicism and skepticism or whatever it would be, it's, guys, you cannot win. And that's why so many people, they come to us. It's like, I can give you the best strategy in the world, because people are like, just tell me the strategy, guys. Like, it's different for everybody, like I said, but ultimately in terms of like, well, you could make more at this job, you could start this business, things like that. It's like, you could use this different app, things like that. And it's like, I mean, I could give you all the strategies in the world, and we give our people really rock solid strategies. Like, here's what I would do to do this or this or this to make the biggest bottom line. But guys, the strategy is this much. The majority of it is, if you do not follow through with the strategy and you're not implementing the strategy and you're not having fun with it, you're either never going to do it, or even if you do it, you're going to burn out. And that's why so many of you guys call us and reach out to us, because you're like, you tried already to get out of debt. You've tried some of these other strategies. You've tried, dude, I'm just going to work the snowball, or I'm going to work part-time jobs, or I'm going to do this or that. I tried this app, whatever, and we got frustrated, or I quit, or I gave up and I didn't follow through, or whatever it would be. And then you find yourself feeling like a pile of crap. You feel like a loser. You feel like a failure. And then ultimately you get shut down. And that's why so many people reach out to us, is because you've tried different things to fix it, but it's not working. And ultimately, there are things that you don't know that would be helpful from a strategic point. But even then, we see a lot of people, even if they already have a good strategy, the problem is they're just not following through on it. Again, it's no different than most people know. If you really wanted to, if you were, 400 pounds, you need to lose 50 pounds. You would not need to read a book on diet to know how to be able to lose weight. Like, you'd be like, okay, I could probably stop drinking soda. I could probably stop eating sugar. I could probably walk on a treadmill for a couple miles a day just to start. I could start eating whole foods. I could start trying to eat organic. I could start, like, you could do those things. And those are great strategies. And it would make a big difference in your health. Now, obviously, it would still always be best working with a personal trainer. So that's why I believe in coaching. I believe in training. But even then, even if that's all you did, it would make a big difference in your life. But the problem is, most people in those situations don't do it. I was not doing it, when it came to my fitness, when I was not doing that, when it came to my finances. Like, I needed outside support to be able to help me get where I am today. It's like, I needed somebody to help me see what was holding me back internally, really. And really, the beginning of the journey, guys, was understanding that what was holding me back was not primarily my strategy. It was not that I needed the new fancy schmancy debt formula or the new fancy schmancy income formula. While all that stuff was great, and I needed to understand some of those strategies, and I'm grateful for them, the primary thing that my coaches have helped me in my life is to be able to know how to overcome the self-sabotaging thoughts, the negative thoughts, the fears about money, the overwhelm, and whatever it would be, and to be able to overcome that so that I can actually implement the strategies that they do give me. And any successful coach needs to do that, and any program that's out there needs to do that. And this is why even, we'll have clients and like, hey, I want to learn about this or that. And I'm like, hey, you can take this program. It's like, it's a few $100, but just realize that it's not going to do anything to help you with your mindset. And that's why 95% of the people will fail with this course and they will never complete it. And that's why it's so cheap. So guys, like, just so you know, if you're looking to fix your debt or to fix your life or any area of your life, and it's like, a $27 ebook or a $97 course or a $300 course, guys, like, just so you know, those people, most of the people that take that stuff are never even going to open it up. It's going to still stay in their inbox or on their computer, because ultimately, like, it's like there's nothing required of them. It's like there's no skin in the game. And even if they do end up taking it, most of those people bomb it, or they only apply this much of it, because again, there's no accountability, there's no support, there's no hand holding, there's no someone there holding, answering your questions, helping you get unstuck when you fall off when you kind of go off track, or you end up feeling like you get stuck in a pit somewhere and you can't get out. Guys, like, that's what you need support for. And that's why most every other program out there that I've seen when it comes to helping people with their finances, it sucks. Not because what they're telling you sucks. A lot of the strategies are good strategies. The problem is that most of the people never implement them because they have not changed who they are. there's not a portion of that, or the majority of it is not helping people to become the types of people that follow through and make the best of the program and actually implement it and actually follow through. And so people end up signing up for these things, and it's just enough money to make you want to spend your money, but it's not enough to actually get any real support. And then people walk away feeling like failures, like, man, I sucked, I didn't really get much out of it, or a year later I'm right back in the same spot. It's not your fault in a lot of ways. It was just a poorly set up thing, and it was making it seem like all you need to do is have the right strategy and your life's going to change. Guys, I'm telling you right now, again, that is not the primary issue. If your life is not changing, it's not that you just need like the specific new calculator for paying off debt, or to be able to do some of this other stuff, how to get your student loans faster, or student loan forgiveness, or things like that. That's not the main thing that's going to help you guys change the game. It's becoming the type of person, again, hear me again, the type of person and the type of team, if you're married, being able to follow through on that on a higher level and take it even beyond what you ever thought was possible. That's really what's so powerful. And that's why whatever you do, you have to make sure what you're investing in for your own development is actually going to change you as a person. That's the majority of what they're doing, is helping you become the type of person to implement it, to overcome it, and to overcome the challenges, the obstacles, because you're going to have them. It's not easy. Getting out of debt is it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some work. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves. Anything significant, it was not easy, but again, it can be fun, it can be simple, and it can be a whole heck of a lot easier than it would be 1,000 times easier than if you were to try it on your own and just try to do that. And that's why so many people, when they come to us and they finally get the support and the hand holding and having somebody who's actually there in their corner fighting, so that in every round when they come up, even if they're a little bit bloodied and beat up by the student loan, debts and the things like that are still trying to pay off, it's like we're helping them fight. We're helping, left hook, right hook, we're squirting water in their mouth, and we're helping them conquer that sucker so they can finally be debt free and they can emerge victorious. And again, if you're at a place where you're feeling stuck, you feel like, I've tried so many things, Jeremy, to get out of debt. I've tried so many different approaches. It's not worked, or I don't even know where to begin. It feels so overwhelming, or it just seems like there's nothing I can do strategically to fix it. You may or may not be like, really, the reality is that I don't know if whether or not those other programs or like the strategies that you're doing are bad. But what I can tell you again is that we've had plenty of people come to us where the strategy itself was not a bad strategy. Like, pay off your debt, smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate. That's a great strategy. The problem is, well, where's that money come from? How do you become the type of person that makes more of the money or manages it better, so that when you do have it coming in, it's not just, just flying out the, like going out the back window when you roll the windows down, like a tissue paper that flies out when the windows roll down. Like, if you don't have control of your money, if you don't have a way to be able to actually make more of it and be able to do that successfully, it's fun, it's exciting, that you're both looking forward to. If you don't have a rock solid marriage and a rock solid mindset going into whatever plan you plan to do, you are destined to fail. It's so much of it's not your fault. It's just the way that it's set up. And most programs and things out there like that, it's just enough to get your money, but not enough to actually follow through and give you any support. And that's why you walk away feeling empty. That's why you walk away feeling like, worse off than maybe you were even beforehand, because now you knew what to do. And so now you're not ignorant anymore. And so now you knew what to do. And it's like, dang, now you feel even worse. It's like going to the doctor. It's like, okay, I know I'm probably out of shape. But then it's like when they finally do the test and you see the cholesterol, you see the blood pressure or whatever, it's like you can't argue with it. So now you feel like 10 times worse of a person if you don't fix it. So that's why a lot of you guys, I think, are so frustrated, because you tried the things in the programs, and now you actually know the strategy, but you're like, gosh, but I'm not really following through, or I'm not really doing it, or I don't, again, for whatever reason, like, you're just not executing it as powerfully as you could, and you've seen other people doing it. So if you've seen other people doing it, again, if you're in our Facebook group, you've seen tons of people doing it. You're like, why can they do it? Why not me? I don't understand. Guys, just reach out, book a call, go to dreamteammarriage.com, and I'll post a link here. Again, guys, and if we can help you, we'll absolutely do that. And again, guys, it does not have to be as hard as you're making it, but it is going to be really hard if you keep trying to solo it and do it alone without the help of an expert in your corner. Okay, guys? So again, if you need any help, just go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call with us, and we will do everything in our power. If I can help you guys, I will let you know. If not, I will let you know that too. But either way, guys, I promise you, we're going to serve you. We're going to love you. We're going to give you crystal clear clarity on what is it that's really holding you back in your marriage, in your mindset, whatever it would be that's keeping you guys stuck. And ultimately, what is it going to take to get you where you want to be? And if we can help you with that, and we feel like we're the best people for that, we will absolutely let you know. But if not, I promise we will send you to whatever's going to serve you guys best. Okay. But go to dreamteammarriage.com. And guys, again, for the sake of your kids, for the sake of you, it's like, if you are not improving and the situation is getting worse, or you look at this last month or even a year ago, and it's exactly the same, guys, you have to change your approach. You have to change your approach. You have to pivot, pivot until you find something that works. So please, if you've tried so many things, please don't give up. Please don't just settle. Please don't just say, you know what, I guess it is what it is. This is just going to be my life. I'm always going to be paying on this debt. If that's you, please don't settle. Please reach out. And even if you're already on making some decent progress, but it's like, I don't want to have to wait, 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. Like, I got some stuff I want to do now. I got some dreams I want to live. I want some people I want to help. I've got some kingdom work I need to do. I've got some dreams that are on my heart that I want to be able to follow through with. And I need to get this debt out so that I can do that for me, for my kids, for my family. I got college, I got weddings, I got braces, I got whatever it is I need to pay for. I got to start saving for retirement. If that's you and you want help immediately to fix it, let's go to dreamteammarriage.com, guys, and we will serve you. We'll help you guys get clarity on that and help you guys change your life. Okay. So have a good night, guys. It's great being with you all. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Otherwise, again, go book that call and we'll help you guys right away. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.